Welcome to OverSeasoned.
It's only going to take one take.
I actually kicked him out of the restaurant.
Why?
Gotta bitch to someone.
Gotta bitch to somebody, and I'm good to bitch to.
I thought you were from Spain.
Yes, I am.
Oh.
Sí soy.
Gotcha.
Soy chorizo.
Oh, no.
You've gone into Martha Stewart land.
It's good. It's just not live.
Whatever.
Okay.
It's like a scene from Cocoon. Like the sun goes down.
You don't want to get blacklisted.
You know what, Mr. President? Is this what you want?
So, Javi, ¿cómo estás?
Yo estoy muy bien.
Got it.
How are you? How
I'm
are
doing
you,
good.
Tom?
I'm a little tired. We flew in from Buenos Aires last night, overnight, red eye,
This morning, yeah, we landed
in Bogotá.
and ready to rock and to roll.
I'm liking your millennial Mr. Rogers getup. Gen Z Mr. Rogers getup.
Ooh.
You got the little sweater, the hiking boots. The entire outfit is looking on point.
I
Even the
appreciate
satchel,
that.
because your pants are getting too tight to hold your wallet.
I don't want to stick out like a sore thumb in South America.
Oh, this
So
is
I
the
think-
South American vibe.
I think in order to do that, your pants have to be tight.
Tight.
Yes.
Painted
and,
on.
And as long as your pants are tight, then you can at least pass for some sort of European, or you can also pass for...
Something vaguely non-American.
Yes, correct.
That's how you feel. Okay.
Yes. The looser the pant, then, the
I like
larger
pockets.
the top. The
I like
target.
pockets. I like to be able to have lots of things in my
Yeah,
pockets.
but I feel like your pants are sufficiently, they're like well tailored.
Stylish.
They're stylish.
Thank
I'd
you.
say so.
Not too baggy, not overly.
No, you're good.
Okay.
You're locked in.
Good. I got some hidden zippers on these ones.
Ooh, what do you hide in there?
Money, passports.
Money, passports. You know what I would hide in there?
What?
Toothpicks,
You
Maldon
would.
salt.
You would definitely have Maldon salt and toothpicks.
That's
not
pretty
bad.
much all you
Yeah.
need to survive in this world. So, Tony, my dog, I want to ask you questions. So, I wouldn't say you're a disliker of pets, but you're not necessarily like the dog, like a dog man or a cat man.
I like other people's pets. I don't like the full-time commitment.
I understand. Well, and in general, I feel like there's two types, maybe three types of people. Let's call them three buckets. There are those who don't like pets, don't like dogs or cats, or are just not into the hair, the petting, the
Everything
touching
that goes with it.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes along with it.
I would say my chief concern with having a pet,
yes.
a pet such as a dog, is you're just on this schedule. You can't just decide not to go home that night. Making a trip is a whole nother element of dog sitting, et cetera, et cetera. And, a lot of this was living in New York City and not having a yard. Like, I always thought people with dogs in the city were especially crazy.
Yes. Well,
Because you can't just open the door and let them run out and do their thing.
Dude, and the poor dog lives its life in this claustrophobic box.
They all seem happy.
The dogs?
You're the one who has to take it out to the dog park. There's a whole culture of dog park people.
I used to find it so funny how disgusted you were by the specific action that all responsible dog people must do. Do you
Yes.
remember?
How could I forget?
You would. There's few
You
things.
start to feel it come up.
There's few things
When
on
I see somebody on, you just get a cup of coffee.
You
Go
go
walk
outside.
into work, you're going, and then you see first you see some smears like finger, you see that.
Yeah.
And then you see somebody, well-dressed professional woman, cleaning up. I don't know. It's not the way that I want to spend my time.
Well, yeah. So
Especially in a city. I understand in a yard, you have an area.
yeah.
You keep that clean. In a city, it just does not seem like the right place
I
for
remember
that.
one Philadelphia winter morning. We were working on some sort of restaurant consulting project together, and you just had this look, just this. You were so. It looked like you were defeated, and I was like, Tony, what the fuck is going on with
the
you?
restaurant business.
That was the restaurant business. You're right, but you're like, I was just walking down the street, and I saw this perfectly professional, nice woman bend over and pick up.
Well, you can feel it.
Like a solid.
I've already I blocked that one from my memory.
A
but
2.2 kilo turd. But you said what?
it just, the trade-off doesn't seem worth it to me.
You said it wasn't necessarily even the action or the turd that got you. It was that it was a cold winter morning and the steam was coming off of a fresh
I'm glad
Labrador.
we're getting the poop talk out of the way early in
That's
this
true.
episode.
That's true. Well, I've had two very interesting experiences with animals, right, over the last couple of weeks.
Okay.
And I wanted to share those with you because I found them to be, I thought of you both times. And in some cases, I even got a little bit uncomfortable with what was going on.
Because you consider yourself a dog person.
I'm a dog guy. Yeah.
But you haven't had one in how long?
A couple years.
But you're a dog guy. But
well, here's the thing: is I love dogs.
so do I.
I love dogs. Okay.
Yeah.
You got a favorite dog? You got a favorite species of dog?
No.
No.
I don't know those kinds
You
of
love
things.
all dogs.
Sure.
You a big dog guy, a little dog guy?
I'm not particular.
You're not particular.
Yeah.
Okay. So all dogs are cool.
Yeah, just as long as they're not yippy.
Okay. We're getting somewhere. You don't like the yippy dogs.
Well, random noises throughout the day are annoying. And especially it's more the people who just keep talking to the dog.
Oh, so you're talking about yippy dogs and yippy owners.
Yeah, it's like you'll say Spot, stop it, Spot, stop, stop.
Yeah.
And that goes on for several minutes a day at intermittent times. The
Yes.
dog's not listening.
The dog's definitely not
Nope.
listening, or whatever
No one
you're
has to
doing is
say
not
anything.
working.
Nope.
Yeah. I will say this before we dive into this topic. I noticed that dogs outside the United States, they have their shit together. They have manners. They walk next to their owners. Did you guys ever notice this?
I haven't.
When you go to Europe, right? You walk the streets of Spain, France, Italy, Greece. The dogs don't want your attention. They don't give a shit about who you are. They're doing their thing. They're sniffing around. They're making friends. They're, and what dogs love to do, they just do a little tinkle everywhere they go. But they don't, with my friends or traveling with, you see a dog, and an American woman and a dog, all they want is, oh my God, I'm in there. You know what I mean? They fall in love so easily. And dogs are great, so I understand it.
You're a dog person.
I love dogs, right?
But now it sounds like you're a European dog person.
Well, no, because I would love to pet the dogs. Random dogs, absolutely, I'm in, right? But the thing is that in Europe, there's rules, and they don't want you necessarily touching their dog. They don't want you petting their dog. And I'll be quite honest, in 99% of the cases, the dogs have zero interest in anything but their owner or walking around. And I find it to be very interesting that in the U.S., if you walk around, most people don't have any control over their dogs. The dogs are jumping all over them. The dogs are jumping all over the tables. The dogs are running the show, Tony.
Okay.
The dogs are running the show. And anyway, I just want to touch on that. So I was in Sarasota with my buddy Jake, and we wanted to go get a bite to eat at a local restaurant right around the corner from my place. It's a bistro. It's like that well-to-do bistro. You know what I mean? That
No.
okay, I'll give you an example. Well-to-do bistro. So they might do a little niçoise, but they do the seared tuna. You know what I mean?
Okay, not the canned tuna?
Yeah.
Okay.
They might do, a little.
Well-to-do bistro. Never,
You know what I'm saying? Like
it's like the upper
bistro.
crust bistro. I
Yeah,
guess.
it's like the bistro for people who shop at Nordstrom. That kind of bistro. The bistro for people who like to put the purse on
Ladies who lunch bistro.
ladies who lunch bistro. Yes. You ever see the guest or of course you have, I'm sure you have. Like there's some people who like to like put their purse on a chair or on the stool.
Yeah, they have.
Like but it's a guest at the like.
Well, they have.
We need a table for 3,
I
please.
mean, some places have like a little stool for the handbag.
I mean, they're cute. They're cute. But it's like it's that kind of spot where like
they would have.
It's a
chair for
seen
the
be seen
handbag.
bistro. It's not a bistro that you necessarily roll out of bed hungover and
What do you think
get your
is
steak free.
What do you think is the big item in the well-to-do bistro?
The big item. Ooh, that's a really good one. What's the big item?
Is
in
it?
a
It sounds like it's
well-to-do
not steak
bistro?
frite. Like it's not a turn and burn steak frite with
No, I'd say the
endive salad.
I'd say the big.
Endive salad is big.
Yes, I was gonna say
Some kind of smoked salmon, something.
yes on
Yep.
frisee with mustard vinaigrette, something like that, and maybe like a upcharge of $40 if you want to throw a little.
Huevo.
A little. Well, I was gonna say the fish huevos. If you want to throw a little
Caviar on there?
Yes,
Okay,
it's that
gotcha.
kind of place.
Okay.
It's that kind of place. So, me and Jake are like, let's go grab a bite. And as soon as we walk in, I was like, I don't really feel like sitting in the bar. It was quiet, right? It was like maybe 7 o'clock on like a Tuesday, that kind of thing. And the upper crust of Sarasota had decided that they didn't want French food today, or upper crust French food today.
Where do you think they went?
I think if Instagram has anything to do with it, they were definitely having tacos. They were having overpriced tacos somewhere on a Tuesday.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? So
Upper crust tacos.
upper crust tacos, right? So anyway, we walk in, and I'm like, "Hey, let's go sit by that." Since it's quiet, you know what I mean, and the dining room is empty. I'm like, first thing, I'm like, let's go sit by the bar, right? We don't want to sit at the bar because it's Tuesday and we're modern gentlemen and we don't want to have alcohol. So we want to avoid the bar because you don't necessarily
To
want to drink.
temptation?
Yeah, we want to avoid temptation. But
Would you have like a Shirley Temple with your cardigan?
No, dude, if I was going to have anything with this thing, it'd be like a kombucha. All right, get your shit straight. All right? So a ginger and lemon kombucha.
Gotcha.
That had been with honey that had
It's
been
hard
harvested.
to not drink. We didn't drink at the restaurant. Well, I had a beer, but we didn't drink at the restaurant last night. And
It's hard
like-
not to drink.
It's because it's so good with. You don't
delicious.
want to all the time, but
I wanted a glass of Chardonnay so badly, and I had like an existential crisis.
Yeah.
Because we got that
you ordered
beautiful
it, didn't you?
Milanesa.
Yeah.
All right, so we walk in, and there's a high top, right? That was perfect. It was kind of like off the bar, but and close enough to the action where, like, you know, we could watch a little TV, eat our food, and kind of be around some people that were doing their happy hour thing, but not like at the bar, right?
And not
like
at a table
encroaching
either, so you're
on the cougardom. You know what I mean? So we decided to sit at this high top, but just before we started to walk over to it, a server or bartender, like a service staff member, sat at the high top with essentially like a big ass entree. And
like a pre-shift family meal.
that's
thing?
what I thought. I was
Yeah.
like, this is a weird time to eat, but maybe it's dead in here and she got cut. And more importantly, I'm not going to fuck with her, you know, enjoyment, whatever. Good. Maybe she worked a double and she was just cut now. So we're like waiting for a host or somebody to confirm where we seat ourselves, whatever. And this lady's like chopping up, like it looked like she's mashing up something, right? So then when she's done mashing this thing up, she looks up and she's like, "Oh, hey, you guys want to have a seat?" And we're like, "Oh, listen, I thought she was having her meal, right? Like her staff meal or whatever." And I'm like, "Oh, don't worry about it. Like, is there any spot that, you know, should we talk to a hostess about grabbing a table. She's like, oh, you can sit wherever you want.
Just
and then
not here.
she gets up, right? And I'm like, oh, are you going to, well, don't worry about it. If you're eating your food, relax, right? Because I didn't want her to feel like she had to serve us or take care of us.
Sure.
I wanted her just to enjoy. You know what I mean? Everybody deserves to enjoy.
All of a sudden, you become the front of the
You're
house guy
over
to the
worried
front of
about
the house.
fucking everything, of course, right? You're like over worried about the service staff member who's still in their apron, right? It's like, so then she's like, oh, I'm working. And I'm like, oh, you're working. Oh, okay. And I'm like, well, are you eating? She's like, oh, no, I'm just prepping a little something for a friend of mine. And I'm like, oh, you're prepping a little something for a friend of yours. So can we sit at this high top? She's like, oh, yeah, please do. Have a seat. What are you guys drinking? And I'm like, oh, we're going to we're going to do the millennial, what'd you call me? Mr. Rogers? Mm-hmm. Monsieur Rogers, since we're at the bistro. We're going to do our millennial Mr. Rogers and just split a big old bottle of Perrier, right?
Extra
Lemons,
wine.
please. Yeah. And so we sit down and I'm like, that was weird. And Jake's like, what the fuck just went down? Like, you were in, you were out, you weren't sure, you're talking to her. Like, what is going on? And I'm like, well, dude, look, the moment I walk in and I see a staff member sitting at a table, my assumption is either they're about to do some work or maybe
Right.
the computer's coming out.
Taking a
I'm about to do an
second,
order.
right.
Or I got cut and I had a shitty shift. And they're like, oh, we'll buy you dinner. But there's a lot that went through my brain when I see a staff member at a high top, you know? And the last thing I want to do is disrupt whatever semblance of enjoyment they get as a result of what either was a bad shift or they're done their double or whatever, their first cut. And he's like, dude, this is way too wild for you to be. I can't believe
All this thought process?
Yeah. He's like, in 48 seconds, we walked up. Hey, you want to sit at a high top? Yes. This chick walks over. You're freaking out about encroaching on her meal. And in a matter of a minute, we're still sitting at the table you originally wanted. And I'm like, dude.
A lot happened.
A lot was going on.
Yeah.
But so I'm sitting towards the bar and he's sitting facing me, which is kind of facing outside. So he doesn't see the action going on behind him. And so this lady, really sweet server, she did an excellent job, by the way, but this server walks over. And when she walks over, she brings over the bottle and she's still holding this plate. And then I look over and I peep on it. And I'm like, oh, it looks like she just mashed a bunch of salmon. And I'm like, what is that? I'm like, I saw you fucking with this thing just like for the longest, you know, like I thought this was your meal. Like, what are you doing? She's like, oh, this is what I was telling you, that I was setting something up for my friend. This is it. And I'm like, oh, who's your friend? And she's like, his name is Gabe. I'm like, okay. So this is for your friend Gabe. And I'm starting to think, like, is she a little special? Like, we're talking about, I'm like, where is this going, right? So now.
But you're digging deeper.
Of course I am.
I would have just been like, sounds good. Later.
Yeah, well, front of house, back house, right? So now I'm like, who the fuck is Gabe?
Why does he like mashed salmon?
Why does he like mashed salmon? And more importantly, Gabe is cool with you walking around the entire dining room, parading around his salmon? Like, this doesn't make sense. Gabe's a fucking weirdo. Right?
True.
So
far.
So then she drops off our water. She tells us the specials. She walks over to the bar, hunches over. She gets down on one knee. And Gabe's a fucking, like, English bulldog. Or no, like a little French bulldog.
Behind the bar.
A cute little motherfucker. No. He's so little that he's, like, under the stool of his parents, you know, drinking away the evening.
Okay, so it was someone else, some other customer's dog. So she was taking care. Got it.
Well, she proceeds to get down on a knee.
Again.
Kiss. she kisses Gabe. Gabe's fucking excited. I'd be excited too if I had some wild Alaskan salmon with haricot vert, mashed up, skin perfectly portioned out for each bite. Beautiful beurre blanc sauce draped over top. Dude, it was a fucking full entree. This dog's like
Beurre blanc.
12. It was the entree that they serve at this restaurant.
Gotcha. Just mashed.
I'm watching this and I'm like, dude, well, first off, I'm like, well, there's only, like, how much salmon should a 20-pound French bulldog have? And it was essentially like an 8-ounce piece. So I'm like, I don't know if Gabe's dad is going to be looking forward to cleaning up what happens. Oh, seriously, this is what dog people think, Tony. Don't give my dog food. That's the first thing that goes through my mind.
It seems like...
Oh, but there's a relationship there.
Right.
Don't you worry. This is a regular...
That dog just had a $40 entree.
Dude, well, so then she fucking starts feeding the dog. She's on the floor. This is in the middle of service. There's a full bar. The dining room is kind of empty, but there's like something, there's
The
shit
remnants
going
of
on.
happy hour.
Yes, the remnants of happy hour. And I'm like, I'm trying to process here because, now I have my manager hat on and I'm like, I don't know if, like, I love dogs, but I don't know if this is appropriate. You're rolling around on the ground, lady.
Also, it's just kind of like, I'm going to assume that it was a regular plate bowl thing from the restaurant.
Oh, it was the dad only wanted a piece or two of wild king salmon.
Okay, so he gave it to... Wait.
Yes,
So,
I dug deeper. Don't you worry.
So the couple ordered this dish, didn't finish it, and then the bartender... They asked the bartender to mash it up for the dog?
I don't even know if they needed to ask the bartender to mash this up for the dad or for the dog, because in this situation, I think this is a regular occurrence. This is just something that happens all the
seems
time.
like a regular occurrence.
And I think what happens is, as soon as dog owner, let's call him Phil.
Go for it.
As soon as Phil decides he's had his fill of salmon, I guess the agreement is that the bartender is now allowed
To give it to a friend.
to give it to her friend, Gabe. So,
Are dogs allowed in restaurants in Florida?
dude, this is exactly where I was going to go with it. So she gets down and she's feeding Gabe on the floor, rolling around, prancing around. It's like this is the moment she's been waiting for. Like, you know what I mean? And look, there's a lot of people like this. I get it, right?
But you're at work.
But you're at work. Well, not only are you at work, we're using like a knife and a fork, like silver from the guests. Dude, she's like feeding the motherfucker. Like, I was just like, this is really inappropriate. I feel like I'm seeing something I'm not supposed to be seeing. This is for your house. Leave this at home, lady.
Yeah.
Like a little piece of like bread. All right.
Well, you could see how the clientele might not have that. They might not get it, but someone working at the restaurant should provide that.
Well, this is exactly
right. We can't serve the dog off the restaurant's china.
We can't serve. There was a lot of infractions that happened during this.
If it's a regular occurrence, there could be a little bowl that the dog uses. They're good tippers, whatever.
Have you ever been in you're in a hotel? I mean, we travel quite a bit. You ever been in a hotel? Or even better, you're at the light. You're driving somewhere. You're at the light. You look over and dude's at the light, obviously he's oblivious to the world. He's probably listening to the OverSeasoned podcast, lost in his own thing. Then he starts digging in on the craziest booger he's ever had. And he doesn't realize he's just, and you have that moment of voyeurism, I don't, it's too good not to look, but I shouldn't be. Well, so this is how I felt watching the bartender do this with this dog. And then I'm looking around. So when she came, so she feeds this dog for like a few minutes, and then she comes over. And I had to
Without passing by the hand wash sink.
No.
Right.
No. She walked right over to us. And I'm like, Gabe's pretty cute, huh? She's like, he's my favorite. I'm like, is he a big tipper? Well, he doesn't have to tip. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Then I'm like, so is this like a regular occurrence? She's like, yeah, I know his dad, and it's like a thing. Like anything he doesn't eat, Gabe gets to finish. And I'm like, so you were mashing up salmon for Gabe? She's like, yeah, today's a salmon day. Sometimes it's hanger steak, sometimes it's, shrimp cocktail. I'm trying to find, so I literally interviewed her. And I was like, is this okay? Like, are dogs, that was my first question, the same one that you had. Are dogs allowed in restaurants here? She's like, service dogs. And I'm like, well, Gabe doesn't necessarily look like he can provide much service beyond being cute under his stool.
Eating leftovers. It could be a service.
This was the service that Gabe was providing, of course, and fulfillment for this bartender. Anyway, I will find the video. I actually interviewed her, and she proceeded to say, dogs aren't really supposed to be in restaurants, but I don't give a shit, and I love dogs. And on top of that, we probably shouldn't be serving them off of people's plates, but I don't give a shit about that either. So I do it. And I had my GM hat on, and I was just like, all the alarm bells were going, because there's like all kinds of infractions that happened in this interaction. But then I started thinking to myself,
what was the biggest infraction, would you say?
Well, first things first. I don't think you're supposed to roll around on the ground.
Dog or no dog?
Dog or no dog. Food service wise, you're definitely not supposed to roll around the ground, right?
I don't know if there's a rule specifically against it. It's just kind of one of those known things.
Yeah, maybe as a human.
Right.
As a human in the world, rolling around on the floor in a public setting, I don't know, feels dirty. So that's one. Two, I don't think that, I guess there's rules around dogs not being in food service establishments, right?
Yeah.
I don't know the specifics on that. I don't know why.
I think it's different in different. Remember that place we worked in Reno where they wanted dogs in the food hall floor. It was like part of the thing. It was a dog-friendly hotel.
Yes, I do. So it is state by state for sure.
And there must be some special permitting. I'm just making this up. I don't know, but there must be some kind of special permit you can get. I don't know.
A special
I'm against it. I think it's distracting and weird to other patrons.
I think it's
But in Europe, it's kind of a thing. Small little doggies that fit in a little box under the table.
In my entire life, I've never seen a dog get fed at a restaurant.
She doesn't care.
She obviously. So, but then Jake brought up a really good point, which I'd never considered. And he said, that's really weird that you guys do that. He was pretty straightforward. I appreciated his honest candor. He said, that's pretty weird that you guys do that, but I feel like you're putting yourself in a really interesting set of liabilities, because what if the dog gets sick? I feel like...
What do you mean?
Like if the dog gets sick or the dog ends up eating something it's not supposed to.
Well, I mean, the owner of the dog is right there. It's under his purview.
Right, but chocolate. There's certain things dogs shouldn't be eating because it's
right, but the owner is right. The owner knows what's happening. She's just helping facilitate the deal.
He's helping facilitate the deal.
Yeah.
How would you feel if you went to a restaurant and saw that? I mean, I feel like you're a true what's the word? I feel like you're like a let people do as they do kind of person.
Yeah, I would think it's very odd for sure. I wouldn't if this server had then gone right to the kitchen and brought my plates out after rolling on the floor with the dog. I think I'd feel a little bit weird about that.
You'd be turned off.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it leads into another story.
I mean, what if this was outside? What if it was just not a cover?
Different story. I feel like it's a different story.
The plateware thing for me, the plateware, like looking at the dog, there's something very multifaceted there. It speaks to like, $40 entree on the ground. As little French bulldogs lapping it up.
Yeah. And I don't know. I love dogs, but...
Well, I've seen recently that there's some Wagyu now is making an appearance in dog food. Wagyu beef.
Listen,
I've seen a few different companies advertising Wagyu beef dog food. What do you think about that?
There are starving children in Africa. That's what I think about that.
No, but I mean...
This is where we are.
Is there too much Wagyu around? Or how does that... What happened to make it that okay?
I don't think it is okay.
Thank you.
Can you imagine what, like, a craftsman in Japan who's dedicated their lives to raising, like, Totori...
Like who's not eating it? What kind of cuts are going into that? Like what extra cuts?
And
I saw someone's like organ meat, which I can understand.
What are we charging for said Wagyu?
I don't know what the proportions that dogs eat, but I remember what I saw was like $15 a can. Or it wasn't even a can; it's like a cryovac.
I feel like, in general, the dog industry the pet food industry is incredibly big. Like all the things that people do for their dogs, and
it's huge.
It's incredible. It's a huge economy, and you've just isolated part of the reason that I think the rest of the world hates us, Americans. We've figured out how to put what's next. Osetra dog food?
Could be.
I mean, yeah, because I'm sure it's high in omega-3. It's just...
So you're the dog person, tried and true, but you feel like as if things have gone too far.
That's too much. Yes.
The Wagyu.
Come on.
Yeah, I agree.
Come on.
I agree. I was actually, I thought it was a kind of a joke first until I dug deeper and found more companies that were also offering the same Wagyu beef.
Now listen, don't get me wrong,
foods.
Tone. Don't get me wrong.
I just don't know. Does a dog even
No.
like that? Like, is that something that a super fatty piece of beef? It doesn't just mean like high quality. It's to me.
Okay.
It's like a very specific thing. Wagyu fatty pieces of meat. You know? I'm not sure that would be something that a dog would want.
I think a dog wants anything.
Sure.
I think in most cases, like it doesn't matter what you're handing over, the dog's going to probably eat it, right?
Sure.
But the dog doesn't have an American Express. You know what I mean? Like, you're not selling it to the dog. I'm pretty sure the dog would be like,
right.
Kraft single, I'm in.
Right.
Old popcorn from behind the couch,
So now
I'm
it's,
in.
It's about the dog parents. Is what you're saying.
It's 100% the dog parent. The dog parent can't wait. I mean, look, and don't get me wrong. I have fallen in my old dog parenting days.
What kind of dog did you have?
It was a Shih Tzu Chihuahua mix.
What did you feed it?
So I forget the name of the company. There's now like all these like high-end, it's called the Farmer's Dog. There's all these high-end companies. And look, I'm a proponent of ensuring that dog has high-quality food. And this company, Farmer's Dog, would do like chopped up broccoli and like
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was like this blended dog food that instead of so the idea is like that like, you know, a dog's not supposed to eat wheat and corn and all this stuff, right? Dogs should be eating like natural raw foods, right? That's like what the dog's health.
You know, I
is
remember
best
reading
served.
something about why pork was so, like in Muslim cultures, like
Okay.
pork is not allowed.
Okay.
And one of the kind of intriguing stories that I read was that pork was the only animal that competed with food for humans. Because they ate human
Competed
food
with humans
for the
food.
same food. Because they would
Understood.
eat the same things that human would eat. So during times of famine,
Oh, they were competition.
right. So they started to outlaw pork to be eaten at all so that it wasn't around to compete with human food. I just thought that was an
very-
interesting take. Usually these things have some kind of reason behind it like that.
I could see that. I mean,
Like the fish on Fridays thing.
the fish on. Well,
I
what's
don't even remember what the story is, but there's like you don't
Oh,
eat fish
like-
on Fridays because,
that's a very like Catholic.
Right.
That's a Catholic thing.
or you
The
do eat fish on Fridays, sorry.
I think yes, you eat fish on Fridays and you don't eat meat on Fridays because I think the idea is you're supposed to be sacrificing.
Because the Pope's brother-in-law was a fisherman at the time.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So, yeah. So the farmer's dog, right? Like they add all these nutrients to the food and blah blah blah, but it's dog food, right? Like it's dog food. And I'm not saying a dog doesn't deserve to have great food, dude. I know people who I've done this. I was like a stepfather to a dog, and the dog had the best dog ever. He was such a sweet dog. Made me fall in love with Yorkshire Terriers in totality. Henry. I don't know if you may have met Henry.
I've heard about Henry, for sure.
He was the best, right? But Henry, and he was the best, right? But Henry had what is it called when you can't eat things that are too fatty, like fatty liver disease? Like he had like
Oh, like the
it's a disease. It's he had
keep talking, I'll remember.
so he couldn't eat foie gras.
Gout.
Something like that.
Gout.
Like a dog gout. No, it was I forget the name of it. Anyway, so Henry had a very specific diet. It was brown rice, it was sweet potato, and it was chicken breast. And it had to be lean chicken breast. And that was Henry's diet. And I felt really bad for Henry because Henry would watch us eat pork chops. Henry would watch us eat burgers. And he'd be like, bro, that smells fantastic. Like, we could communicate telepathically through food. And I knew what he was. Dude, I would plop.
Wait.
Yeah.
You could communicate telepathically through food with your pet.
Bro, because his eyes would say everything. Just like the way his eyebrows would go. That's all I needed to see or to hear or anything. So we had to put his food down at the same time that we were eating. Because we were hoping he was a finicky eater. I would be a finicky eater too if I was eating overcooked chicken breast, stringy, with mashed sweet potato and rice.
Still ate it.
He still ate it. Sometimes he wouldn't. Dude, there were times where I had to pretend that I was giving him sushi and feed him with chopsticks to get him going. To just get something going. He was finicky as fuck. I loved him and I wanted him to be healthy, but I felt bad for him. You know what I mean? But anytime, he had pancreatitis. That's what he had. Anytime he got anything, like a little piece of hot dog or a little piece of anything, his tummy would hurt, right?
Yeah.
So it was chicken and rice time for him almost always, right? But then
I guess I'm unfamiliar with dogs that eat even chicken and rice and broccoli and stuff. I didn't realize that was a thing.
Dude, there's now Wagyu dog food,
Well, yes.
as you've discovered. And there's all kinds of stuff. So this leads me into another experience something for you to look forward to. So there's a country that's been on your bucket list for a long time that you were telling me you were a little bit jealous that I was going to.
Greece?
Close. The one before
Turkey.
that. Turkey. My friend, get ready for the wildest ride of your life.
Okay.
Now, everywhere you go, everywhere, it is the custom to feed the animals that are walking around. And not
In Turkey?
In Turkey. And not only feed the animals, but like
birds, chipmunks. What animals are around?
hundreds
Hundreds.
and hundreds of dogs
Okay. Just on the street.
just hanging out on the
Ownerless.
streets. And it's lawless. Now, look, I love dogs. They're sweet. But the thing is like the moment you start, then they invite friends.
Right.
And then it becomes like a party. And then before you know it, your shish kebab is everyone's shish
This
kebab.
is like a thing. People,
This is a thing.
you have get buy an extra kebab for the
so
local street dogs.
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing is the rules in my house were always humans eat first. And if you're a good boy, right?
Yes.
Then you can have a little piece of, turkey kebab. But it's at the end. It's at the end. It's not going to happen first bite. It's not bite, 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 bite. No. It is bite for me, bite for me. Ooh, I like that. Bite for me, lamb, bite for me. When I'm done, you can have a little piece of something, right? But let's not get too comfy here. You're a dog. I'm a human, right? But, dude, so I know the rules. They eat last. Phones eat first. Humans eat second. Dogs eat last. Well, dude, I sit next to these French ladies, and they're like, oh, it's a cute little cat. Yeah, of course it's a cute little cat. Yes, it's a cute little cat. But before you know it, like they get their first thing, right? And this is how good they have it. The pets, the street pets in Turkey. When you hand them a piece of pita gently dipped in in lebna?
They eat that?
No, they look at you like, are you crazy?
Well, that is kind of a crazy thing
Really?
to offer a cat. Yeah.
Dude, I've had dogs that would literally
Eat everything.
everything. Like, I've had dogs where I have to like keep them away from the kitty litter because they'll literally sop up the kitty litter. They're fucking animals. They're animals. They don't know better. They didn't know that came out of a bag and it's supposed to. Anyway, so in Turkey, the dogs, they won't even eat like vegetables. They're like, get the fuck out of here. Give me kebab. Give me lamb. I want that thing on the bone. So anyway, the lady tries to give a cat like a little piece of pita, right? And the cat's like, what am I, a peasant? So she's like, oh, he won't eat it. So then she's like, I got a great idea. Let me feed the cat first. I'm going to give the cat a piece of kebab. So then the cat is like, got you, right? Cute little cat. Didn't get me, but so now all of a sudden the cat is meowing because it got a little taste. And this was a great restaurant. This was
Outside. Were you sitting outside?
Yes, this was a Michelin-rated restaurant. Fantastic food.
But who doesn't know once you start to feed the animal, then more animals come?
Well, the best
Who
part.
doesn't know that? Or that it's going to sit there and bother you.
Okay, so this lady gives a piece of kebab to. Then the cat starts getting pissed. It's like meow, 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 and we're all like, "Fucking lady, fucking why? Wait till the end, right?" But you didn't even have a bite, and you already give the cat some, and then before you know it, the meow meow means more meow meows are on the way, dude. And before you know it, I'm in the booth, and there's a cat next to me. There's a cat over
They're like
here,
crawling all over you.
dude. They start getting aggressive, cause they got introduced. Here, I'm going to show you. You got to see
I
this.
trust you.
Bro, it was so inappropriate.
I trust that you have a photo of this in a video. Several, in fact.
Yeah, we're going to have to add that. So, dude, long story short, now the cat's clawing at her seat. There's other cats like all over the place. The servers are like looking at us like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, but you can't even, there's other seatings coming and stuff too. So
I guess so, dude. I don't know what the rules are. But the rules for me are you don't feed the animals and then complain, because what was going on was, then she's like, can you believe this? Can you believe this? The cat's like hanging on her chair. She's like trying to eat. Her friend is like, like, hey, you want a bite of this? And the cat's like, man, like all over her. And then
you're like throwing pieces of
the lady has the audacity to look at me in the eyes and go, can you believe this? And I wanted to be like,
Yes, I can believe this.
Yes, I can believe this. That an animal on the side of the street got their first taste of Michelin star kebab. And now
to finish that up.
Yeah.
I want to know what a Michelin star kebab is like.
Oh, dude.
Tell me.
So for starters, they had a beautiful grill. And it was interesting.
Was it cranky uppy downy?
No, it was kind of like a more rustic. Okay. You know how the Japanese do the yakitori and they kind of have like that hot box?
Actually kind of like just a box of coals.
Yes.
With skewers over the top.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
and the skewer, like the tip and the end just fit over it. So it's really not even over grill grates at all.
No.
It's just over fire.
At least this place. So they had these big,
I've seen it often,
long, beautiful.
I have one of those Japanese things. I haven't pulled it out in a while.
Oh, dude. It was so. I have some video of that too that I'll show you.
Imagine that.
Yeah. So they have these long, like steel skewers, and they would make them. Of course, onion, pepper, chicken, or whatever. And so we got this big, beautiful plate of mixed grill, and it had lamb, it had chicken, it had beef, and it had some sort of, I think, beef sausage as well.
Yeah. Probably merguez or something like that, I imagine.
No, it wasn't as spiced. It was like in patties, like kibbeh, like kibbeh balls.
Okay, gotcha.
Right? And anyway, it was delicious. Everything, I mean, it had that big puffy bread. Everything there is with this chopped up sun-dried tomato. I forget the name of it because it was so fast. It was like we were there for 3 days, boom, in and out, and off to the next place. But anyway, it was a great experience. And I think before you go, you just got to figure out what the rules are in terms of be prepared. You can make a lot of friends. You can make a lot of gabes.
Sit inside.
Maybe sit inside. But anyway, I guess the long and short of it.
Was it spicy?
Yeah, there was definitely some cumin and coriander, some spices on there.
I mean like spice, like hot spice.
No, it was more... It was more like savory spiced. It was delicious.
Did you think that there was a difference between like the Michelin starred in the place in Turkey type of establishment versus
it was
like where we go here?
Okay, so got it.
What's that? El Arab?
El Árabe.
El Árabe.
Yeah. So
which is fantastic. Would you say it was on the same level?
It was. I'd say so. We had we tried. It's a lot of, it's fantastic food. You always say that Middle Eastern cuisine for you is something you can eat almost every day.
Yeah.
Right? And it's the type of cuisine that's meant to be mixed and combined. And,
right.
You can get your kibbeh and then you can get your kebab and you can
I think I know where we're going tonight.
Yeah?
Yeah.
As the inspiration?
I think that was all the inspiration I needed.
Yes, I'm very hungry.
We'll sit inside. We'll get a lot of...
Perfect.
Things.
Yes, that sounds good to me. And so it was fantastic. I think what it comes down to is presentation, the Michelin star component of it,
and service.
It was beautiful presentation. It was beautiful service. They have a good wine list. And by the way, it's inappropriate how expensive wine is in Istanbul. Like wild. I've never seen anything like it.
Is it in the Arab world in general?
Maybe it
I
is
can't
in
quite
the Arab
remember what it
world.
was like in
It was bad
Egypt.
in Egypt too.
Right.
It was bad.
They
I
were
think
out of a lot, and then they
it's-
try to push you something.
They are definitely telling you something when you try and order a bottle of New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc, and it's $180 US, right? The same bottle was $14 at the supermarket. You're just like, when I did a little research on wines, just like, because anytime you get to a new place, you have to adjust to the currency, and the first thing you're doing is trying to like give yourself some benchmarks on what things cost, and like for example, a whole beautiful big mixed grill plate that was for 4 people, but I was dying for it. So
For one Xavier?
yes, exactly, and a friend. That entire huge plate was like, I think $60, but then a bottle of Sauvignon Blanc was like $180. It was wild. But
you got it.
no, I didn't.
Oh.
I didn't. So what we did was get the wines, the local wines. Even the local wines are incredibly expensive. And Narinche, I think was the Narinche, something like that. They had we tried a couple of the local wines, because at that point you're just like, all right, if I'm going to overpay, I might as well.
Hey,
I don't want to know what it
thing.
costs.
Yeah, well, you want to try the local whatever anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So tried a couple cool local wines. And in the end, I'd say there was definitely a bigger line of cats and dogs outside the Michelin star restaurant
so they're
than
smart.
there would be in just the
It
street.
probably has a little bit to do with the
roadside.
diners as well. But I'm looking forward to have some Middle Eastern food tonight before
Okay,
I
me
fly
too.
back to the States.
Yes, I'm very excited for that too, Tom.
Nothing like coming to Bogotá for some falafel.
Listen, you know me. I'm not going to convince you otherwise. I think
Right
it's
on.
a great idea.
Well, looking forward to it.
So thanks for tuning in. I'm sorry if anyone was offended by the dog rant. I love them. Tony loves them too.
Just the time and the place.
There's a time and a place. Ooh,
And that place is Turkey.
yeah. Maybe that's why they call it a doggy bag. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
And tune in to OverSeasoned every Monday, sometime in the morning. We have fresh episodes.
Wherever you are.
Wherever you are.
OverSeasoned Podcast was brought to you by Over Easy Office, outsourced bookkeeping solution.